My beloved child, this is not a coincidence. I knew the exact day your eyes would stop on this message. Before this moment ever arrived, I had already prepared these words for you. Listen carefully, because July 28th is not what should concern you. What happens before it is, the enemy hopes you will convince yourself that this is just another video. He wants you to say, I'll watch it later. He wants you to believe that nothing important will happen if you keep scrolling. But he knows something you do not. He knows what begins to change the moment you stop and truly listen to my voice. So give me just 1 minute. Do not rush. Do not skip ahead. Stay with me until the end, because there is something your heart needs to hear today. I am not speaking to create fear. I am speaking because I love you too much to let you walk into something unprepared. Over the last few days, you have felt something you couldn't fully explain. A strange heaviness, a quiet pressure, moments where your mind felt crowded, yet your heart kept searching for peace. You wondered if it was stress, if you were simply tired, or if you were imagining it. My child, you are not imagining it. There has been a battle around your attention, not because you are weak, but because you are valuable. The enemy does not waste his time distracting people who have no purpose. He targets those who are closest to discovering what I have prepared for them. That is why you almost scrolled away. That is why interruptions keep appearing whenever you try to spend time with me. That is why your focus has been under attack. But you are still here, and that tells me your spirit recognized my voice before your mind understood why. If you are seeing this before July 28th, then hear me carefully. I am asking you to stay with me for these next few moments, because what I reveal today may protect you from making a decision you would later regret. Do not treat this as ordinary. This moment was prepared for you long before you press play. Stay until the end, because every word builds upon the last. And what I reveal next is exactly what the enemy hoped you would never hear. My beloved child, do not let your heart become distracted now. The enemy is patient. He rarely begins with something that looks dangerous. Instead, he starts with something that feels harmless. One more scroll, one more delay, one more excuse, one more moment of saying, I'll spend time with God tomorrow. That is how spiritual distance quietly begins, not with one terrible decision, but with many small ones that seem insignificant. I have watched every moment of your journey. I have seen the silent battles you never spoke about, the nights when you smiled before others, but cried when no one was watching, the mornings when you felt too exhausted to pray, the afternoons when doubt whispered louder than faith. I was there. I never left you, even when you thought I was silent. I was protecting you in ways you could not yet understand. There were conversations I stopped before they could wound you, doors I quietly closed because they would have led you into pain, people I removed from your life before they could destroy your peace. At the time, you thought you were being rejected, but I was rescuing you. You questioned my timing. You wondered why certain plans failed, why certain relationships ended, why opportunities disappeared without explanation. My child, those were not punishments. They were protection, because I can see what you cannot. I know the path ahead before you ever take the first step. That is why I speak to you today with urgency. Not because I want you to fear tomorrow, but because I want you to walk into tomorrow with wisdom. Listen carefully. There is something the enemy has been trying to keep hidden from you. It isn't always obvious. It doesn't always appear as temptation. Sometimes it looks like constant busyness. Sometimes it feels like endless tiredness. Sometimes it sounds like the voice inside your own mind saying, this message probably isn't for me. But that voice is not mine, because I brought you here intentionally. You are not hearing these words by accident. You are hearing them because your spirit has been asking me for clarity, even if your lips never spoke the prayer aloud. Stay with me. Do not rush ahead. because in the next few moments, I am going to reveal something that will help you recognize a trap before you step into it. And once you see it, the enemy will never be able to deceive you in the same way again. But listen carefully. If you are still here before July 28th, I want you to understand something that most people will never realize. This isn't just another video appearing in your feed. This is an accident. And it isn't because an algorithm randomly placed these words in front of you. Long before you opened this video, I already knew this moment would come. I knew the exact day. I knew the exact hour. I knew the exact emotions you would be carrying into this moment. I knew the questions hidden inside your heart that you've never shared with anyone, the worries that keep returning when you're alone, the silent battles that no one around you notices, the disappointment you've tried to smile through, the prayer you whispered over and over, wondering if anyone was listening. My child, I heard every single one. Not one tear escaped my attention. Not one sleepless night was forgotten. Not one cry from your heart was ignored. That is why I am asking you again. Do not leave yet. The enemy desperately wants you to believe that this message can wait until tomorrow. He whispers, watch it later, finish it another time. You've already heard something like this before. Nothing special is going to happen if you stay. Do you see how subtle his voice is? He doesn't always tempt you with obvious darkness. Sometimes he simply convinces you to postpone the very thing that could change your direction, because delayed truth often becomes forgotten truth, and forgotten truth cannot protect you. That is why this moment matters. If you are watching this before July 28th, heaven is giving you an opportunity that many people will ignore, not because you are better than them, not because you are more deserving, but because your heart was willing to pause long enough to listen. That willingness is precious. Never underestimate what I can do with a heart that simply chooses to remain. Many people ask me for signs. Many people ask me for answers. Many people pray, Lord, please speak to me. But when I begin speaking quietly, they become distracted before my message is finished. Do not make that mistake today. Stay with me, because what I am about to reveal may answer questions you've been carrying for months. Some of you have been asking why doors suddenly closed, why certain relationships changed, why opportunities disappeared without explanation, why plans fell apart even after you prayed so hard. You thought I wasn't listening. But what if I was protecting you? What if the delay that frustrated you was actually saving you? What if the rejection you cried over prevented a greater heartbreak? What if the closed door was keeping you away from something that would have stolen your peace? You see only today's disappointment. I see tomorrow's victory. You see the chapter that hurts. I already see the ending. That is why I ask you to trust me before you understand everything. Faith does not begin after every question has been answered. Faith begins while the answers are still hidden. My child, there is something changing in the spiritual atmosphere around you, not because of fear, but because of purpose. Whenever purpose draws closer, resistance often increases. I know you've been carrying burdens that no one else fully understands. You smile around people. You tell them you're fine. You keep moving forward because that's what everyone expects. But when the room grows quiet, your thoughts become louder. Questions begin filling your mind. Will things ever change? Am I really on the right path? Did God forget about me? Why does everything feel so heavy? I know every one of those questions. I heard them before you ever spoke them. I never turned away. I never became disappointed in you. I never grew tired of hearing your prayers. Even when you repeated the same prayer 100 times, I was still listening. Because a loving father never becomes annoyed by the voice of his child. Never believe that lie. The enemy wants you to think you've prayed too many times. He wants you to believe your situation is beyond hope. He whispers, nothing is changing. God isn't answering. You're wasting your time. But what he never tells you is that many of the greatest miracles happen after people almost gave up. Think about how many blessings people miss because they walked away one step too early. How many answers were already on the way, yet discouragement convinced them to stop believing. Don't let that become your story. Because if you're watching this before July 28th, I want you to know that I have been arranging things behind the scenes that you cannot yet see. There are conversations happening that you know nothing about. There are delays protecting you. There are closed doors guarding your future. There are people leaving your life because they cannot go where I am taking you. There are opportunities forming that have not yet appeared. You call it waiting. I call it preparation. You call it silence. I call it construction. You call it delay. I call it perfect timing. My child, never confuse my silence with my absence. The seed beneath the ground appears inactive, but beneath the surface, life is already growing. In the same way, just because you cannot see me working does not mean I have stopped working. Many of my greatest works happen where human eyes cannot see. That is why faith matters. Faith believes before evidence appears. Faith keeps walking before the road becomes clear. Faith keeps trusting even when emotions say otherwise. And I know that isn't always easy, especially when you've experienced disappointment, especially when people you've trusted have hurt you, especially when you prayed sincerely and still face difficult seasons. I know those moments tested your heart. I know they made you wonder whether you had enough strength to continue. But look at you. You're still here. You're still listening. You're still searching for my voice. That tells me something beautiful about your heart. It may be wounded, but it has not surrendered. It may be tired, but it still believes. It may be uncertain, but it has not stopped seeking me. And that gives the enemy great concern, because he understands something you may not yet realize. A heart that refuses to quit is a heart that becomes impossible to defeat. That is why he works so hard to exhaust you emotionally, to keep you constantly distracted, to fill every quiet moment with endless scrolling, to replace peace with noise, to replace prayer with worry, to replace hope with fear. He knows that if he can keep your attention divided, your spiritual vision becomes blurred. But today, I am calling your attention back to me, not with condemnation, not with guilt, but with love, because everything I say is meant to protect you. Everything I reveal is meant to strengthen you. Everything I allow you to understand is preparing you for what comes next. One day, you will look back and understand why certain prayers were answered differently than you expected. You will see how my delays became your protection, how my silence became preparation, how my discipline became love, and how my timing proved better than your own. But until that day comes, keep trusting me, keep listening, keep walking faithfully one step at a time, because what I am about to reveal next is deeply personal. It concerns a specific area of your life where the enemy has tried to convince you that you are too far gone, too broken, or too late for me to restore. Stay until the next part, because I want to replace that lie with a truth that has the power to restore your hope, renew your faith, and remind you that my plans for your life have never been canceled. My beloved child, there is something I need you to hear with complete honesty. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now, because if you are still listening before July 28th, then perhaps this is the very truth your heart has been waiting to hear. The enemy has spent far too long trying to convince you that you are already too late to change, too late to heal, too late to start over, too late for your prayers to matter, too late for your dreams, too late for your purpose, too late for my mercy. But listen to me carefully. That is one of his oldest lies, and it has kept countless people trapped in discouragement. He wants you to believe that because you made mistakes yesterday, tomorrow has already been decided. But I am the God who writes new beginnings where others only see endings. I have never been limited by your past. Never. Your failures have never surprised me. Your struggles have never shocked me. Your questions have never caused me to withdraw from you. Before you ever stumbled, I already knew every step of your journey. Yet I still called you mine. My child, think about all the times you believed you had ruined everything, the opportunity you missed, the words you wish you could take back, the relationship that ended, the decision that still fills you with regret, the season when you wandered further than you wanted. You have carried those memories like heavy stones. Sometimes you smile while carrying them. Sometimes you pretend they no longer hurt. Sometimes you tell yourself, I've moved on, but deep inside, the weight remains. You wonder if I still see you the same way. Hear me now. I do not define you by your worst day. I define you by my love. The enemy keeps reminding you of who you were. I keep calling you toward who you are becoming. There is a difference. One voice chains you to yesterday. The other leads you into tomorrow. My child, have you noticed how regret always speaks in the past? If only I should have. Why didn't I? Regret keeps looking backward, but my spirit keeps inviting you forward, because I cannot lead you into the future while you keep living inside old memories. Yes, learn from yesterday, but do not build your home there. I have more ahead of you than behind you. Some of you have quietly believed that because life has not gone according to your plans, you somehow miss my plan altogether. No, you have not ruined what I can restore. You have not broken what I cannot rebuild. You have not wandered beyond my reach. Even now, I am able to redeem years that seemed wasted. I am able to bring beauty from brokenness. I am able to turn painful chapters into testimonies that strengthen others. Nothing is impossible for me. Nothing. My child, I also know there have been moments when you compared your life to everyone else's. You watched others succeed, others celebrate, others move forward, and quietly you wondered, when will it be my turn? Comparison is another trap the enemy quietly places before you, because while you keep staring at someone else's path, you stop appreciating the road I am preparing for you. Remember this. No two callings are identical. No two journeys unfold the same way. The tree that grows slowly often develops the deepest roots. The strongest foundations are usually the ones nobody notices being built. So stop measuring your progress against someone else's timeline. I have never asked you to become another person. I only asked you to faithfully become who I created you to be. My child, you are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not an afterthought in my kingdom. I know your name. I know your story. I know the silent victories nobody applauded, the temptations you resisted without anyone noticing, the tears you wiped away before facing the world, the kindness you showed when nobody thanked you, the prayers you whispered when nobody else was awake. None of those moments were invisible to me. Not one. Heaven notices faithfulness long before the world notices success. That is why I tell you, do not become weary in doing good. Seeds do not become harvest overnight, but they do become harvest when they remain planted. Remain faithful. Remain patient. Remain close to me, because your season is not finished. My child, I also want you to understand something beautiful about my timing. You often ask me for immediate answers, immediate breakthroughs, immediate healing, immediate change. Sometimes I answer quickly, but many times I choose to prepare your heart before I change your circumstances. Because if I change your surroundings without strengthening your character, the blessing may become a burden. So while you've been praying for open doors, I have also been preparing the person who will walk through them. While you've been asking me to change your future, I have been shaping the heart that will one day carry that future wisely. Trust that process. Even when it feels slow, Even when you cannot see immediate results, growth beneath the surface is still growth. Preparation is not punishment. Waiting is not abandonment. Silence is not rejection. Sometimes my greatest act of love is refusing to rush what requires maturity. My beloved child, if you are still listening now, I believe your heart is ready to hear what comes next, because in the next part of this message, I want to speak directly about the blessing that many of you have been praying for, not with empty promises, not with false certainty about dates or events, but with timeless truth about hope, faith, perseverance, and my presence through every season. Stay with me just a little longer. The enemy hoped you would leave before reaching this point, but you didn't, and because you stayed, your heart is becoming stronger. Your discernment is becoming clearer. Your faith is becoming steadier. And what comes next may be the encouragement you've been praying for without even realizing it. My beloved child, before this message comes to an end, I want you to be still for just a few more moments. Take a deep breath and remember this. You did not arrive here by accident. Whether you found this message in the morning, late at night, during a break, or while searching for hope, I have seen every step that brought you here. If you are watching this before July 28th, don't focus only on the date. Instead, let it remind you of something deeper. Time keeps moving. Days pass. Weeks pass. Opportunities come and go. But my invitation to draw closer has never changed. Do not wait for the perfect moment to seek me. Do not wait until life becomes easier. Do not wait until every problem disappears. Come to me exactly as you are. Bring me your questions. Bring me your fears. Bring me your disappointments. Bring me your mistakes. Bring me your dreams. Bring me your future. You never have to clean yourself up before coming into my presence. You come to me because I am the one who restores, strengthens, and renews. Remember this truth. The enemy wanted you to skip this message because he knew that every minute you stayed would fill your heart with more truth than fear. Truth brings peace. Truth brings wisdom. Truth brings discernment. Truth reminds you that you are loved far more deeply than you realize. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are not fighting alone. Even when the road feels uncertain, I am walking beside you. Even when you cannot see the next step, I already know where it leads. Even when your strength feels small, my strength is more than enough. So do not let fear make your decisions. Let faith guide them. Do not let yesterday define tomorrow. Let my promises shape your future. And whenever doubt whispers that nothing is changing, remember that some of the greatest things I do begin where human eyes cannot yet see. Just because a seed is hidden beneath the ground does not mean it is lifeless. Growth often happens in silence. Preparation often happens in waiting. Victory is often being formed long before it is revealed. Trust me, keep praying, keep believing, keep walking faithfully one day at a time. Because I am not finished with your story. The chapter you are living now is not the final chapter. There is still hope. There is still purpose. There is still healing. There is still joy ahead. There is still peace waiting for you. And there is still more of my love for you to discover. So lift your head, my child. Walk forward with courage. Walk forward with humility. Walk forward knowing that I have never left your side. No matter what tomorrow brings, I will be with you. No matter what challenges appear, I will give you wisdom. No matter how dark the night may seem, my light will never stop shining. Trust me, stay close to me, and never forget that I love you with an everlasting love. Before you leave, I have one simple request. If this message encouraged your heart today, write Jesus, I trust you in the comments. Not because those words save you, but because they are a public declaration of where you choose to place your hope. As you write those words, take a moment to pray, not just for yourself, but for someone else who needs God's peace today. If this message reminded you of God's love, Please like this video, because every like helps this message reach someone who may be struggling in silence. And if you want to continue receiving messages rooted in Scripture that encourage your faith, strengthen your hope, and draw your heart closer to God, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future messages. Finally, if someone came to your mind while listening, perhaps a friend, a family member, or someone going through a difficult season, share this video with them. A simple act of sharing may become an unexpected source of encouragement in their life. Thank you for spending these moments with me. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Amen.